So thank you for the great introduction. It's so evident that you are a friend. So that's why this is introduction. Feasible, teachable, repeatable. But in the last months, we had another word that it means to be even profitable. Because for the dentist, they have to work, but they have to earn money. So that's why now we add this word. And that's why we try to find something that is fast, easy, with high quality. That is for us mandatory to help general practitioner in their daily work. So since we started giving recipes for the composite, and now we are going forward with this composite, even in a single shade, so pushing people to do simple things and not to start with difficult things because for them it's very difficult to do it. We cannot transfer the skill. The only thing that we can transfer is the knowledge. That's why probably the digital is the world where you can transfer only the knowledge. That is better for everyone. So at the beginning, you know, we were not so happy about the digital because we are all dentists. I'm in dentistry since 37 years, so it's not, I'm not a baby. Guido is a baby, but so talented guy. So that's why we started to work in the world of digital very slow. Since we met you, you remember the first time was some years ago. We were a little bit, you know, side in this way. But after that, we started to work and to have a look around, to have a very simply workflow for digital, because this is the only way to push people to start to enter inside the digital. Because if you are showing different workflow where you need 3 different systems to get a final result, at least for 1 crown, is not a good way, in my opinion. That's why when you presented us your scanner and your workflow, we were very interested in this, and we started to have a look around to catch some very strong young people that are already educated in digital. You know, they start for the mobile phone until iPad. They do everything in a digital way. And in this way, we found this guy. This guy is, we know him since a long time. He was in our first meeting. It was like a baby looking in this way in what we did at that time. Oh my God, what kind of dentist? We are normal dentists. So after that, this year in Madrid, he became a symbol member, and he showed us cases fully digital. It's digital from the head. You see, even the shows, they are digital, not a normal one. So that's why that is a very, very great pleasure for me to introduce Guido that will guide you inside the digital world. It's really fully digital. So, Guido, thanks to be here.
Thank you very much. And thanks, Carastream, for the invitation to have the opportunity to speak about digital protocol. As you say, today the topic is changing life. And as I say, I really can say that the scanner changed my life. And I am a scan lover. So as he said, I fall in love with it. And the first thing that I say to my friends is, why you don't start? So what are the problems for you? And what's the point why you don't love the scan? The first thing that my friend tell me is because scanners, they are not precise. I can do veneers with the scanners. This is what people tell me. So they think that job like this, and we started from here, they cannot do. But we have the proof today that with digital impression, we can reach this kind of restoration. And you will see later that also they can be reproduced. As he said before, things must be easy, things must be feasible, or people don't do them. And scanner help us in that way. They say they are not precise, so my friend tell me, if we have minimal prep really 0.3, 0.2, if you put your retraction cord and you take a digital impression, you will not be able to be precise, so I did it. I checked my veneer under the microscope, and this is the result. So we can say today that at the end, they are precise. Henriette Lerner gave you a nice paper this morning when he showed you the microns that the scanner have today. And what is interesting today, I think, is also that scanners are going fast. I had the old version, now I see the new version of the software. They showed me the version that is coming out. So the point is now the machines are faster than the literature. So it's difficult to check with the literature if they work, but the literature tell us that they work and those are proved. So clinically, we are happy about them. Another thing that my friends tell me is I cannot do Toronto because they are not precise enough. There are papers about 2 years ago, but 2 years old, a paper in digital is too far. So it's too old. It's not possible, so we tried. We did some Toronto, we did a digital impression. Then we did a cast by the digital impression with the transfer of the multi-unit abutment, and we did a test. Before doing the bar, we splinted some normal transfer over the model. We placed them in the mouth, and that DRS control, they were fine. So it means that scanner for Toronto are working again. And this is clinical. This is what we can say. So we transferred those information with some duplication of the prosthesis. And another interesting thing that we can do is this, some project. Because there are many papers in prosthodontic that show us that the support sometimes is much more important than the material. So in that way, we can design a bar that is well supported, pretty aesthetic, that works in the mouth, with a good satisfaction of the patient. But the scanner costs. So people tell me, they cost a lot, I cannot afford them, they are not profitable. Another important point that Walter told us the last week in Madrid is dentistry should be profitable as well. Or we are not playing, we are doing something concrete. So why do I have to switch to the scanner if they are not profitable? So people think that with scanner you save money in impression material, just that. And they tell me about impression material costs less, so I don't need to switch to the scan. But this is not the point. Because, for example, if we do an impression on an implant, we have the normal transfer or the option of the scanner. And when we scan, we use this tool that is the scan body. So, for example, we have a case like this where we place our implant. We wait till the healing. And then we place our scan abutment. And this is the point. I am an implantologist. I'm also a prosthodontist. I work in many different practices. One is in Luxembourg, one is in Milan. So I travel, and to me, to travel with this box is terrible because I need to do the prosto. Sometimes I lose the piece. And with just one piece, I can switch to all these boxes. So they are much more ergonomic. With just one scan body, you scan all 3D implants. So with just one piece, you do 3 tooth. Then you sterilize it, and you are ready for the next steps and for the next patient. This means money. Yes, not so much, but they are money. But where is the big advantage when we talk about scanning? Is in time. Please think about time, about how much you're productive, about 1 hour of your practice, how much it costs. Because if you don't work, this is something in average in Italy, my practice, my chair, costs me 80 euro. But if I work, I earn around 200 euro for each hour. That means that if I have a mistake in prosthodontic and I have to do again the work, I am losing 280 euro every hour of my chair. So please think about it. Every time you do a mistake in prosthodontic, you are losing 280 euro. And so what are we doing? We are burning money. Those are real. This video was very sad, burning also 10 euro. And the biggest point is that if you miss one appointment, you're doing this for 28th time. And so I get crazy. I get very sad, and I go back home to my girlfriend and I say, why are you like this? Because I did a mistake in prosthodontic. And I had to lose 1 hour of my appointment. So the first advantage of the scanners is that you can check immediately if your impression is good or not. Normally, you take the impression, you wait 7 minutes. If you have bubbles, you have to do this again. Or worse, you send to the lab, then the lab call you and tell you, sir, you have to take another appointment to do another impression. So this is the first point where we are saving a lot of money. So I send my impression to my technician. And what is happening today? I receive an email. I can easily put the email on some website like Exocad WebView, or with the new release, we can do this right now with a 3.1, just pressing the W button. So we can check the mesh. We put our file. So here is what I receive. I have my impression plus the project. You will see this is what my technician designed. So what I'm doing today, I'm checking the work of my lab before I receive it in the practice. Before I was waiting for the cast, waiting for the job, and then on the patient, I was checking if it was good or not. So first things, if the job was not correctly done, I was losing time, I was losing money, and I was losing credibility with the patient, because the patient don't like to see when things don't work. In that way, I can preview it. So, for example, I can take the picture of my temporary, I can do an overlapping, and I check there that there is something that is not okay. So I just call my lab, and we can correct it before having them. And so I'm saving money. Again, I'm saving 28 times 10 euro. And so I'm in an amount of potentially 500 euros saved. And this is why I think in that way, with productivity scanner are profitable. So I receive something without cast. I go in the mouth. I receive, this is the catpack full zirconia in the mouth. I see that it's okay. My gum is okay. I go on with the layering, and this is the result. So patients are happy. We are very strict. We don't have to take many appointments, and things works. The second point is the replication. Sometimes I work with a static, and sometimes something terrible happens. That I do my temporary, I do my mock-up, patient have the final restoration, the final crumb, and they are different to the temporary. And the patient tell me, doctor, but your temporary was better than this. And in that way, I go really mad. So this is because when we go manual, we can make mistake, and we cannot have the same replication of the temporary. So this is what we are doing today. We are printing the mock-up like the old. So we put our silicon index, we put out the mock-up, and we print the mock-up. This is something very difficult. You did this with normal impression, but it's not the same. Then we prep the tooth. We take a scan of the preparation. And so this is what we have in the lab. The mock-up plus a second impression. And with the new version, you can also check them together, match it, and check how much you prep and how many millimeters. And this is the interesting part, because when I give these things to the lab do something like this. You can see they can match exactly the preparation with the mock-up. And in that way, we have a perfect occlusion, much more easy than the analog way, where we had to take many wax, especially in the vertical dimension increments. And the most interesting part is here, because here he can put out the mock-up, and here he have numbers. Numbers are things that makes your life easier, because number, they are the same. So he can know how much he have to design a preparation. He know if your space are good, and he know how much he can design, for example, a CAD structure in this silicate before doing some first padding. So in that way, we went to the milling machine. We milled, you see the structure in Emacs. This is the monolithic crown before with the infiltration, and then he delivered us those nice restoration, but things that are trustable, because we know that the space is what we need. Again, I say, sometimes in Prosto, the numbers and the space and the structure is much more important than the material. But here is where I want to focus my attention, single monolithic crown. We have to keep the things easy. We have to keep the things for everybody. So how we can make the scanner profitable and repeatable for everybody. There is a nice paper for Francesco Mangano that showed us that if we do a full flow with scanner and monolithic crowns, we can save 114 euro each crown. So again, scanners, they can be profitable. So I asked myself, how many single crown we do a year? Because there is a paper that showed us that in USA, one dentist do 0.6 monolithic crown each day. That means 150 crowns in average for year. And if we save 150 euro for each of them, we are saving 70,000 euro in 1 year. So we are paying our scanner in 2 years just with the monolithic crown, plus the bridges that we do, and plus what I showed you when we don't make mistake with the appointment. And again, ergonomy, because when we do monolithic crown, we don't need to scan all the mouth. This is one mistake that I was doing in the beginning. I started to do all the scanning of all the mouth, the palates, the upper, the lower, and I was taking like 15 minutes for the impression, 20, and I was telling, okay, these scanners are not good. But the point is that those are not needed because we need just half of the arch, and we have the occlusion control. So with this way, we can see if the bite is okay. Those are just stable, and so we can provide the crown just with them. And to take me an impression like this cost me 3 minutes to take the upper, the lower, and the bites. So I'm much more speed, and I'm much more profitable. The important is to can as old, so we have to take an impression first with 2 retraction cord. While we are using the 2 retraction cord, we cut them. This is a nice trick to take an impression with the double retraction cord technique with the scanners. So we go on the patient, we remove the retraction cord, and we go and we scan this again. In that way, we are very precise, and we avoid what is the contraction of the gum. That is the biggest problem why we are taking impression. So you don't need to remove them all. You just scan, then you cut, and you do this again. And again, the point is the weight of occlusion, because many times happen that you take the impression and you don't have enough space. So with the scanner, you're able to control this immediately, because you have this option with the ruler, and with the ruler, the scanner tells you that here you have 1.5 millimeters. So if I know that for my restoration I need 2, it's very easy. What I do, I cut the occlusal part, I go on the patient, I just remove where I need, so in the vestibular part, some space, and then I scan it again. And so guys, this makes the things easy, because everybody can do this. Everybody is able to take just half of the arch. Everybody is able to prep vertical. Maybe it's much more easy than the shoulder. Everybody is able to control this preparation with the numbers. And so this is why we think that this story is feasible. But the story is so long, I think that we are still in a phase where we have to discover a lot. So this is why with Study Italiano, they had the brilliant idea to start to share the information. The power of this group is the synergy, we can say, the feedback of all the people, and this is why we are interested now in talk about this field, and will be open soon, this part, so the part of Style Italiano Digitally, where we will have a blog for the discussion. You will have many tricks like this, like, for example, using some photo palettes for the retraction, because, for example, you know, in the lower, the problem is to keep the tongue and the cheek together, but with this palette, they designed it perfectly for the picture. They are working perfectly also with the scanner. So we found tip and tricks like this, tip and tricks for the tips, tip and tricks for the powder, and many things like this. So we wait your feedback, and this is the way where we will go. So we will go digital, but we hope that we will go digital all together. So thank you again for your attention. Thank you again for the opportunity, and I really have to thank them, because they believe in me, and I think sometimes, even if we are digital, human value are the biggest thing that we can find in the world. So I have to thank them most of all for the trust and to let me be here to talk to you.
So thank you, Guido. Great presentation. Is there any questions? Now it's question time. Mitzias, you have a question?
Actually,
Always humid, yes.
it's always yes. No, I would like
Nice
to
style.
congratulate you, actually. Thanks. Because in a very, very short time, you addressed all the issues that we all have. Indeed, for all of us, for the ones that they haven't moved to this digital era, there is also the factor of the insecurity.
Absolutely.
And what would you say about that, since you're a very secure person?
Yeah, that's not true. It's look like, but I'm a person full of complex, and I always try to push to be overcritical myself. And I think this is something that my master taught me to learn for all my life. And this is the best way to go on. So first, while we go to scan, we need to change. And maybe this is the first step, because people come to something that is comfortable, they know, to something that they don't know. So there is a step where they are like without the floor down under the shoes. This is what I felt. And so they need support. This is why we are trying to do some line of education with some blog, with some courses to do this. So this is the first step. You have to be encouraged of it, because as we told, you have to understand that it's profitable, it works, but also you need to do this step. And takes time, but I have to say that I was thinking that was worst. So I said, okay, I have to take like some months to be able to do this. Then I found a guy that gave me 2-3 advice, and the next day I was scanning super fast. So yes, there are some points that we have to focus that are this, for example.
I think what you said before and what you showed in your last slide with Style Italiano Digital, I think that this is something that you should reinforce also as a company, because as a leader that you are globally in this field of digital and in the CBCTs and everything, I think this is something that all of us, the clinicians, we really need to have this kind of tips, like
That's
scan,
why,
remove the one
yes.
cord or the other, what do you do with the blood, what do you do with all of this.
And my honesty, that's why I need the community.
Okay.
That's why I need the feedback of the people, because there are many scanners. The scanner change a lot very fast.
Right.
So we need to know, I can give some tips, but maybe there is another person in Korea, another person in Arabia that have better tips. And I think they had the brilliant idea to do this. So the community sharing, friendship, not everybody in his practice looking at himself that he's the best of the world. I know how you think about it. But this is the strong. So this is why I think the community, the blog, will be amazing to know things together. But I have to say, people are scared, but things are not so bad. As I showed you, things work perfectly. It's just to know 2-3 small tips and things work. And they are profitable too. Much more than how we think.
Thank you, Guido. Thank you for the question. Now we have the pleasure to have Ed on stage, the other co-founder of Stile Italiano, Dr. Devoto. You may want to say some closing words. We had a great presentation from Guido.
Yes, thank you. Thank you very much, Roberto. And actually, I was hearing that question that it's really very important, and it is, let's say, the bread of our group. We are connected in 59 countries, in all the 5 continents, all over the world. And really the treasure of the group it is that we got, and we will have even more, tips and tricks that especially for now on in dentistry, in digital dentistry, they will make a big difference. Because as he showed you, there are many details that are still undiscovered for the majority of people. So digital, it is an opportunity if it goes to the dentist easy. And I think that that's why we are here. We are in partnership with Carestream, because they have an easy way of thinking and offering the possibility to share digital dentistry all over the world in the same path, in the same way. So thank you very much. Thank you for your presentation. I saw that you are good, very good. And thank you for being here with us.